We've got 1 minute to go before it's actually 6 o'clock. Let everybody get organized.
Yes.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Troy City Council Finance Committee meeting. It's May 1st, 6 o'clock. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Councilmember Keel.
Present.
Councilmember Brosnan.
Present.
Councilmember Spain McLaren.
Present.
Councilmember Vera.
Present.
Councilmember Soriento.
Here.
Councilmember Casey.
Present.
Council President Steele present, all present and accounted for. At this point in time, we have a public forum. Anyone who wishes to speak on any item on the agenda is welcome to come forward. Please give your name, place of residence, and share your thoughts. Does anyone wish to speak? Seeing none, we'll move on to our agenda. Ordinance 21, ordinance amending the 2025 general fund budget and accepting additional grant funds from the Troy Capital Resource Corporation for the 2025 Neighborhood Improvement Program. Councilmember Casey, Council President Steele, at the request of the administration. Do I have a motion? Councilmember Soriento, second.
Second.
Councilmember Keel. Discussion?
Council President,
Councilmember Brosnan,
I'd like to be added as co-sponsor.
certainly.
Same.
Clerk, would you please add Councilmembers Brosnan and McLaren as co-sponsors? I can report that the subcommittee met remotely, and we're pleased to announce that all of the applicants received some sort of grant. And that's exciting for us this year. This makes a significant improvement in our neighborhoods, and it also brings residents together on projects that really have a lasting and important impact to our community. So I want to thank Councilmember Casey and Brosnan for working with me on this. Anyone else have any discussion on the ordinance?
Council President Steele.
Councilmember Casey.
Yeah, I just want to say that I echo that. The vast majority of these people, if not all, are just so invested in Troy. And it's just great that we have this resource that we can help them out in their efforts. Thanks.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ordinance 21 is adopted 7-0. Ordinance 22, ordinance authorizing awards of neighbor improvement program funds. Councilmember Casey, Council President Steele, at the request of the administration. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Councilmember Soriento with a second by Councilmember Keel. Do you also want, would the clerk please add Councilmembers Brosnan and McLaren
Thank you.
to this as well? Any discussion on this ordinance? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ordinance is adopted 7-0. Ordinance 23, ordinance approving a grant of easement to Niagara Mohawk Power Corporation and Verizon New York, Inc. Councilmember Casey, Council President Steele, at the request of the administration. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Councilmember Brosnan with a second by Councilmember Keel. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ordinance is adopted 7-0. Resolutions, the agenda mistakenly had resolution 43 on. We have already actually acted on that, so we'll move on to resolution 45. Resolution authorizing the mayor to renew the agreement for the provision of consultant services to the Department of Public Utilities by DCK Services LLC. Councilmember Casey, Council President Steele, at the request of the administration. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Councilmember Brosnan, second.
Second.
Councilmember McLaren. Discussion on the resolution. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is adopted 7-0. Resolution 46, resolution confirming the temporary appointment of Gabrielle Mahoney as treasurer of the city of Troy. Councilmember Casey, Council President Steele, at the request of the administration. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Councilmember Soriento with a second by Councilmember Brosnan. Discussion.
Council President, I would like to also co-sponsor this.
Clerk, so note. Thank you. Any comments?
Council President,
Councilmember Vera.
is there going to be a confirmation hearing?
Mic's off.
As the memo of support and the resolution itself indicate, confirmation of an appointment to the office of treasurer is not required under our charter, and confirmation of temporary appointments are not required under our charter. The reason for doing this is that EFC is holding up distribution of grant funds that the city of Troy, that are due to the city of Troy, because for whatever reason, its legal counsel now wants, for the first time, some indication that the council is authorizing Gabrielle to be the chief fiscal officer of the city. Under our charter, the treasurer is by charter the deputy controller, and under state law, a deputy may serve in place of the principal when the principal is not available or otherwise absent. So this is the fourth or fifth time that we have done this. We did it when Andy Piotrowski left the job, I think in 2022. We appointed Selena Skiba to be temporary treasurer. I think she got 2 appointments. And then we've appointed Gabrielle, since we haven't had a controller for any extended period of time in this administration. Gabrielle's been appointed 3 times. So this is really, for lack of a better word, a comfort confirmation, so that EFC will distribute the funds that are due for our lead water line replacement and things like that.
Thank you.
Okay.
We did not receive a resume in our packet, so I requested that. We've not yet received that. Is there a reason for that?
I don't believe a resume was included. I mean, this,
No, that's
This-
why I asked for it.
I understand. Normally, you wouldn't even see this appointment in any respect whatsoever. I mean, you're only seeing it because the EFC is holding up city funds. This is a convenient way to get the city grant money distributed to the city.
Right, we're just asking for the resume. I don't think that's out of
Well,
order.
I
do
don't
we
have,
that?
I don't have a resume.
Is there a reason why we don't have it?
I don't know
Gabrielle?
if there is a resume at the present time. Gabrielle's been a city employee for, I don't know, a dozen years or so. And before that, at another time after that, in between, an employee of THA. She's doing the city an enormous favor by doing this, by taking on this responsibility. She
I
doesn't have-
don't dispute any of that. I just had a request. It seems to me that when a council person requests some information, if it's unable to be provided, just out of courtesy, an email saying thus would be in order. And I assumed that it was on its way, since I did not hear otherwise. So I'm just very disappointed that we're unable to provide a resume if indeed one exists. Gabrielle is in the hall. Can she answer? Can she speak for herself? No, she can't. Okay. Thank you.
I don't.
Okay, thank
Okay.
you. Any other questions?
Council
Let me
President,
just say, the reason,
Councilmember McLaren.
I'm just, you said this is the first time that EFC has made such a request that,
yes.
okay,
So they have distributed funds in the past without making such a request, but now their council is insisting on it. So rather than argue with their council, I thought it would be the simplest expedient to simply have the council, the city council, confirm the appointment. I did not foresee any objection, and I did not foresee that there would be any request for a resume from someone who is so well known to you.
I,
So I just didn't get it.
this is the first time I think we're hearing that, and it just makes me a little bit nervous. Do you think has anything to do with the fact that we don't have a comptroller, and are they feeling,
I don't know. I think that perhaps if we had a comptroller, I don't know whether they would be requesting proof that a comptroller had been confirmed by the council, which in fact is required under our charter.
right? You don't foresee that they could withhold funds? I mean, obviously, if we fulfill this request, are the requests going to stop there? Or do you perhaps fear that this might go further because of,
I try not to look too far in the future with some things because I'm a pretty bad predictor of events. And, but I mean, I'm just trying to deal with the immediate problem.
sure. Okay,
We'd like it to be confirmed by the council. Okay.
okay,
If that makes you happy, I'll do that.
thank you.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Hmm.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution 46 is adopted unanimously. Resolution 47, resolution recognizing the anniversary of the Armenian genocide. Councilmember Casey, Council President Steele. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Councilmember
Second.
Vera will second by Councilmember Soriento.
Council President,
Councilmember Vera.
I'd like to be added as a co-sponsor.
Same here.
Council President
Same.
me as well. It's probably
Yep.
unanimous.
Anyone not want to be on it? I guess we're putting everyone on. So I would assume all in favor,
Aye.
Aye.
opposed? I believe we're going to be having the chair of the National Armenian Committee here this evening for our regular meeting. So we'll be able to present him a copy of the resolution.
Excellent.
Resolution 48, resolution determining that the proposed construction of a swimming pool at Knickerbocker Park will not have a significant effect on the environment. Councilmember Casey, Council President Steele, at the request of the administration. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Councilmember Brosnan, second.
Second.
Councilmember Keel. Discussion? Do we want to acknowledge that this should have been done this way the first time?
This was originally done in 2018 by presumably by the prior administration. It was done as a type 2 action. And as if the pool was going to rebuild in kind on the original footprint. I do not know. I wasn't privy to any of that. I'm not sure why it was done that way. But since then, the project has changed. Because the project has changed, in order to be true to our future bondholders, we're going to have to, the seeker needs to be redone as an unlisted action. And for which, hopefully you can find a negative declaration. It's only being built 400 feet away from the original one. And $500,000 in bonds were issued under the original authorization. No further bonds will be issued under that original authorization or under the supplemental authorization, which was recently passed.
Thank you.
Uh,
Councilmember Farrer.
Let's see what he says.
Rick, would you be able to answer, or perhaps Deputy Mayor? Are there any other permits that are required? I see the only one listed as, not that it in any way affects the outcome of this process, just for record keeping purposes. Are there any other permits that are required for the pool itself, Department of Health, anything along those lines?
Department of Health has to certify it before it can be operated, before the
Okay.
public can use it.
Do I have to propose that as an amendment, or can we just revise?
Is that not included in the seeker?
No, I see only the funding from New York Swims.
Uh-huh.
So we should just list any other permits under there for the final paperwork?
I think so, yes.
Okay, okay. Again, I don't think it affects the outcome.
It shouldn't.
Yeah.
I agree with you, Matt.
Any other comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution 49 is adopted 7-0. Resolution 48. Resolution 49, bond resolution of the City of Troy, New York, authorizing the issuance of not to exceed 6.3 million serial bonds to finance the construction of a swimming pool in Knickerbocker Park. Councilmember Casey, Council President Steele, at the request of the administration. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Councilmember Soriento, second.
Second.
Councilmember Keel. Discussion on the resolution.
Council President.
Councilmember Farrer.
Back in 2018, a bond was issued,
Yes.
and,
Well, no, excuse me, a bond was authorized.
okay,
Only 500,000 was issued.
so this $6.3 million bond simply replaces this approval to bond,
It re-
replaces the previous
it re-
two
it-
approvals.
Correct.
Okay.
And for those who are confused that we're doing this again, it is because the pool was actually relocated and needed the seeker. And
Correct.
it needed new bonding.
That's correct.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is adopted unanimously. Resolution 50, resolution.
Just a note on that too, just because for the record, a big part of it where we came to where we had to change that seeker designation is because how DASNY views reconstruction in kind. So, part of that being the swims, since they're the holder of the New York Swims, that 5.8 money, when working through them with this, that's why we wanted to bring back so we could satisfy DASNY, just for the record.
Resolution 50, resolution proclaiming the month of May 2025 as Plant More May in the city of Troy, New York. Councilmember Casey, Council President Steele, at the request of the administration. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Councilmember Brosnan, second.
Second.
Councilmember Soriento. Discussion on the resolution?
Council President, I would like to be included in this.
Yeah, I don't know why you weren't.
I don't know either.
I was kind of questioning that, but
It's okay.
clerk, you have that information? Good, thank you. Any other comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution 50 is adopted unanimously.
I'll give it minutes.
We have a few minutes. Does anyone have anything they'd like to discuss at this moment in time?
I say, would you carry open?
Motion to adjourn.
Does anyone in the audience wish to speak on any non-agenda item? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Councilmember Vera
Second.
and Councilmember Brosnan. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned. Should have. Who knew?
Shoulda, coulda, woulda.
I got good news today. They amended the state law. That said, the board of elections. And you're elected somewhere.
Clerk, can you mute the meeting?
Oh.
Can you mute, please? Yes, sorry. and muted, unmuted and all that good stuff? Okay, great. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Troy City Council. This is the regular May meeting, May 1st. It is 7 o'clock. I'd ask you to please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Present.
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 Here, here.
Present. Thank you very much. At this point in the evening, we have the public forum for anyone who wishes to address any item on the agenda. We would ask that you come forward and give your name and place of residence. Does anyone wish to come forward during the public forum for any agenda item? Seeing none, we'll move along to our agenda. Ordinance 18.
Proceedings instituted by Troy Salt LLC on the assessment roll of the city of Troy. Councilmember Casey, Council President Steele, at the request of the administration.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
Councilmember Brosnan with a second by Councilmember Soriento. Discussion on the ordinance. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
7 ayes, 0 no. Ordinance 18 passes.
Ordinance 19.
Ordinance 19, appropriating funding from the assigned unappropriated fund balance of the water fund for the inventory of lead service lines / service material investigation and amending the water fund to appropriate such funding. Councilmember Casey, Council President Steele, at the request of the administration.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
Councilmember Brosnan with a second by Councilmember Keel. Discussion on the ordinance.
Council President.
Councilman Vera.
When I looked at Schedule A, I just didn't see where these funds were coming from. I was wondering if someone could explain. It just looks like we're adding the funds to 4 different line items. So
We're talking about, are we on ordinance 19?
yes, sir.
That from the unappropriated fund balance? So I don't, Gabrielle should be here in a minute, but that the funds are coming from the unappropriated fund balance. From the water fund.
Right.
Is
So
that your question?
yeah. Normally I would see like, a fund balance that has $500,000 in it. We're taking out 175. We see that fund balance decrease by that amount, and then we add the funds. But when I look at this schedule, it looks like we're adding funds to each and every one of these accounts.
I don't have the schedule right in front of me. If you want to. Let me get a copy of it. Hold on one second, okay?
Okay.
Would you mind just asking your question again, Councilman?
Sure. On Schedule A for ordinance 19, it appears as though we're adding $175,500 to 4 different accounts. I'm just curious which account that money is coming out of.
It's moving it from the water fund to the capital projects fund, and it's coming out of the unappropriated fund balance of the water fund.
Is there an error on Schedule A because it's showing it as a positive, not a negative?
No, I've copied it from the Schedule A's that the prior comptroller would use.
So which account number is it coming out of?
It's not coming out of an account number. It's coming out of unappropriated fund balance.
Okay, What's the total amount in that unappropriated fund?
There's plenty of money in it to fund this. I can get back to you on
Okay.
the amount.
So significantly more than 175,000.
That's correct.
Thank you.
Yeah, and just to note too, with the Schedule A is typically when you're taking from the appropriate, unappropriated funds, it usually doesn't reflect what's left in that,
Okay, I will rely on your statements. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Did you find it?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
7 ayes, 0 nos, ordinance 19 passes.
Ordinance 20.
Ordinance 20, ordinance authorizing sale of a certain city-owned parcel of real property by the proposal sale application method. Councilmember Casey, Council President Steele, at the request of the administration.
Do I have a motion? Councilmember Keel, second.
Second.
Councilmember Soriento. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
7 ayes, 0 nos, ordinance 20 passes.
Ordinance 21.
Ordinance 21, ordinance amending the 2025 general fund budget and accepting additional grant funds from the Troy Capital Resource Corporation for the 2025 Neighborhood Improvement Program. Councilmember Casey, Council President Steele, at the request of the administration.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
Councilmember Soriento, second.
Second.
Councilmember Keel,
Council President,
Councilmember McLaren.
Councilman Brosnan and I both wanted to be co-sponsors of this.
Okay, good job.
And 22.
Thank you.
And 22.
Any other comments, questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
7 ayes, 0 nos, ordinance 21 passes.
Ordinance 22.
Ordinance 22, ordinance authorizing awards of neighborhood improvement project funds. Councilmember Casey, Council President Steele, at the request of the administration.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
Councilmember McLaren, second.
Second.
Councilmember Keel,
She sponsored.
Oh.
And-
right, sorry.
yeah, So-
I'll make a motion then.
all right.
Sorry.
And let the record show that Councilmember Brosnan and McLaren have been added as sponsors. So this was moved by Councilmember Farah with a second by Councilman Keel. As I said during the Finance Committee meeting earlier, I want to thank my subcommittee members, Councilmember Casey and Brosnan, for their work on this. We met remotely. We're very pleased to announce this year that all of the applicants were funded to some degree. These projects make significant impact in our city, in neighborhoods, bringing folks together. So we're thrilled that we're able to fund everyone at some level. So the projects will be going forward. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
7 ayes, 0 nos, ordinance 22 passes.
Ordinance 23.
Ordinance 23, ordinance approving a grant of easement to Niagara Mohawk Power Corporation and Verizon New York Incorporated. Councilmember Casey, Council President Steele, they request the administration.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
Councilmember Soriento, second.
Second.
Councilmember Vera. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
7 ayes, 0 nos, ordinance 23 passes.
Resolution 26.
Resolution 26, a resolution to commemorate the service, life, and legacy of Camille A. Rezick by designating that portion of Ferry Street between 4th Street and 5th Avenue as Camille A. Rezick Way, home of Eastside. Councilmember Soriento, Councilmember Smee McLaren, at the request of the administration.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
Councilmember Brosnan, second.
Second.
Councilmember Vera. Discussion? We have members of the family here
Yes.
tonight, and I would hope that they would stand and we could recognize.
Oh.
Mayor?
Thank you. Council President, Council, I just wanted first to thank the Resnick family for joining me earlier. Thank you very much. A couple of his family actually came from New York City, so we welcome you and hope you come back to Troy. But saying that, you know, Camille is looking down right now. He's obviously rooting for the Yankees, and on behalf of Seamus, who really is a member of the family, and myself, this is truly awesome. We love Camille, and he is looking down. I did want to apprise the council. June 28th will be the sign unveiling, so please put it on your calendar. We'll give you a heads up of the further details as it gets closer. But once again, we just want to thank Camille's family for joining us. We want to thank his wife, his children. We love Camille, and Camille is a legacy here in Troy and will never be forgotten. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Discussion on Resolution 26.
Council President.
Councilmember McLaren.
I just want to say that I am proud to co-sponsor this resolution. I remember Camille. My son played baseball with his son, and so Camille was like everybody's dad. You know, the kids playing, if they needed something in that concession stand, Camille was there to get it for them. He just was enveloped everybody, you know, with his smile and his, you know, great character. So I'm very happy that this is happening.
Thank you.
Council President,
Councilmember Soriento.
I am also really honored to be co-sponsoring this resolution. I've known the family like they're my own. And this is truly an honor.
Thank you. Any other comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
7 ayes, 0 noes. Resolution 26 passes.
Resolution 38.
Resolution 38, resolution appointing Alyssa McClanahan to the Board of Assessment Review of the City of Troy. Councilmember Casey, Council President Steele at the request of the administration.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
Councilmember McLaren, second.
Second.
Councilmember Soriento. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
7 ayes, 0 noes. Resolution 38 passes.
Resolution 39.
Resolution 39, resolution appointing Francis A. LaPasta to the Board of Assessment Review of the City of Troy. Councilmember Casey, Council President Steele at the request of the administration.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
Councilmember McLaren with a second by Councilmember Brosnan. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
7 ayes, 0 noes. Resolution 39 passes.
Resolution 40.
Resolution 40, resolution proclaiming May 2025 as Building Safety Month in the City of Troy. Councilmember Soriento, Councilmember Casey, Councilmember Brosnan, Council President Steele at the request of the administration.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
Councilmember McLaren,
Second.
seconded by Councilmember Vera. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
7 ayes, 0 noes. Resolution 40 passes. 40.
Resolution,
Yeah.
yes, Resolution 41.
Resolution 41, resolution proclaiming May 2025 as Mental Health Awareness Month in Troy, New York. Councilmember Brosnan, Councilmember Casey, Councilmember Keel, Council President Steele at the request of the administration.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
Councilmember McLaren, second.
Second.
Councilmember Soriento.
Council President,
Discussion?
Council President, I would also like to sponsor this,
Same, please. Although I moved it.
even for Building Safety Month. Oh, wait, I am on there. Okay.
Clerk, do you have that?
Got it?
Okay. Thank you.
Council President.
Councilmember McLaren.
I just want to say, you know, how important this is. Mental health awareness is something that's needed all year long. But I'm glad there's a month dedicated to it.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
7 ayes, 0 nos. Resolution 41 passes.
Resolution 42.
Resolution 42, resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into memorandums of understanding with the Lansingburg Central and Troy City School Districts for the School Resource Officer Program. Councilmember Keel, Councilmember Brosnan, Councilmember Casey, Council President Seal, at the request of the administration.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
Councilmember Soriento. Second, please.
Second.
Councilmember Brosnan. Discussion on the resolution.
Council President,
Councilmember
I would
Soriento.
like to be included in this also.
Clerk, please make note of that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
7 ayes, 0 nos. Resolution 42 passes.
Resolution 43.
Resolution 43, resolution of lead agency pursuant to the New York State Environmental Quality Review Act declaring that a proposed project involving the development of a clean thermal energy network within the city of Troy, including certain improvements within Riverfront Park, will not have any significant adverse impacts on the environment. Councilmember,
Was that supposed to be pulled? Because it wasn't
No.
on finance.
No. No.
We
Yeah.
passed finance, not regular.
Councilmember Casey, Council President Seal, the request of the administration.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
Councilmember McLaren with a second by Councilmember Keel. Discussion.
Council President,
Councilmember Vera.
is there somebody from the administration that could take a question? This is a type 1 action. Is that correct?
I believe so, yes.
Were there any other involved agencies on the when did notices go out? Did we meet the 30-day notice requirement is?
I
where I'm-
believe we did. You did that, okay. I wasn't intimately involved with.
So my name's Nick Schwartz from CHA. I'm a principal landscape architect. I've been involved with the geothermal project since its inception here. So to your question, Councilman Vera, yes, the statutory timeframes from public notice have been met. And yes, it is a type 1 because it isn't located in the downtown historic district. That's what triggered the type 1 action. So we've since received sign off from SHPO and all the other agencies that we need to make sure that there are no significant adverse impacts as a result of the project.
Excellent. Thank you.
Certainly.
Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
7 ayes, 0 nos. Resolution 43 passes.
Resolution 44.
Resolution 44, resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into a memorandum of understanding with the Capital District Transportation Authority for ongoing funding to operate CDPHP cycle. Councilmember Casey, Council President Seal, at the request of the administration.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
Councilmember Brosnan, second.
Second.
Councilmember Vera. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
7 ayes, 0 nos. Resolution 44 passes.
Resolution 45.
Resolution 45, resolution authorizing the mayor to renew the agreement for the provision of consultant services to the Department of Public Utilities by DCK Services LLC. Councilmember Casey, Council President Seal, at the request of the administration.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
Councilmember Keel, second.
Second.
Councilmember Brosnan. Discussion.
Council President,
Councilmember McLaren.
I'm wondering if someone is available to answer a question.
No one is available to attempt to answer the question.
So these services are needed because we don't have a full-time operator?
For the DCK,
Yeah,
I think, we do not, yes, we do not have a full-time we do not, under the charter, I think the resolution specifies that there can be a DPU plant operator. We don't have anyone encumbering those titles.
okay.
Right?
And
We need certain people with certain licenses to
Right.
operate to operate the plant lawfully
Okay.
and for the New York State Department of Health and Environmental Conservation. So we employed DCK when Chris Wayland left.
Right.
We have continued to employ him. I guess he may have had some conversations, he being Ron Colts, with, or Mr. Colts, Don Colts,
Mhm.
with Russ, when Russ was head of DPU.
Right.
So he's continued basically past the year end on a month-to-month basis, but we wanted to formalize it with the new rate.
And so do we anticipate, do any idea where we are as far as having someone take that
Well,
full-time position?
So someone has to want to take it. And it involves a huge amount of responsibility for not much more money than that. We have a couple people who have since Chris left, become qualified in terms of the licenses,
Okay.
but they're not, we don't have someone operating yet. I think the deputy mayor has a new position though.
Yes, and thanks, Rick. So, one, just to make it clear too, that it's the certain licenses
Right.
that are held by them. So I mean, there is, folks at the water plant. Andrew Golden does a phenomenal job.
Right.
Whether it comes to lead pipes or all the different things that he does up at the water plant. We have posted a director of operations for DPU. That's something that we're actively interviewing for. So, there is the search for that, but there's plenty of folks up there that are still doing a great job every day. And just like Rick had noted previously when Chris, after a while, I think he obtained those licenses being up there. So now Don is in that spot really to hold those licenses.
Okay. And I would not dispute that the people there do a phenomenal
Yeah.
job. So you anticipate that whoever gets hired for this position would either have or obtain the licenses, and then we wouldn't need the consulting services anymore?
So that would be something that we would definitely be striving for. The reason that we kind of refer to it as a director of operations, that we really feel the need up there is a little bit more than the actual engineering or some of the other work.
Mhm.
But ultimately, the goal would be, of course, to get somebody with licenses. Like Rick has noted, some staff in there has been working towards achieving that or
Mhm.
got them. So, but
Okay.
he also does come with a lot of. He's not new to the plant. He comes with a really lengthy history with the plant. So although it's a consultant, it is really more of, he's really part of the staff almost in the work that he's done and a lot of the legacy knowledge that he brings outside of holding those licenses.
Okay. Thank you.
Council President.
Councilmember Vera.
So Mr. Reeves is still up at the plant serving in a part-time capacity as the Commissioner of Public Utilities?
He is not. No, he's been prior to bringing Chris Marini on board as our full-time city engineer. Russ has stayed on, still taking care of some special projects. Some of those may encompass work that goes on at the water plant, but he's no longer serving as an oversight or commissioner for the DPU.
So there's an opening for the Commissioner of Public Utilities and an opening for the Director of Public Utilities?
So the director of operations for public utilities could almost be looked at as a new position that would be somewhat compatible to the commissioner. That person would be overseeing the entire, whether it's the garage operations, the water plant operations. So
With a
we
more
would-
administrative
to
role than a
possibly
more-
answer
than
your
a
question,
technical.
we wouldn't be looking to hire a commissioner and a director of operations. It would still be just that one head role.
Oh, so if you hired a Director of Operations, then you wouldn't hire a Commissioner?
We would not.
What's the, you can get back to me if you don't have it off the top of your head. What's the salary that was budgeted for that position?
I'm pretty certain it's 95,000. I
Okay.
could double check that though.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? All in favor?
Hi.
Opposed?
7 ayes, 0 nos. Resolution 45 passes.
Resolution 46.
Resolution 46, resolution confirming the temporary appointment of Gabrielle A. Mahoney as treasurer of the city of Troy. Councilmember Casey, Council President Seal, the request of the administration.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
Councilmember Brosnan with a second by Councilmember Keel. Discussion,
Council President, I also want to be
right?
a co-sponsor on that.
Clerk? Okay. Any other comments, questions, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
7 ayes, 0 nos. Resolution 46 passes.
Resolution 47.
Resolution 47, resolution recognizing the anniversary of the Armenian genocide. Councilmember Casey, Council President Steele.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
Councilmember Brosnan, second.
Second.
Councilmember Vera.
And I believe
We're all,
Councilman,
Everyone,
we all
Yeah.
want.
everyone asked to be
co-sponsor that.
co-sponsors of this. We're very honored this evening to have with us Andranik Karagosian, who is the chair of the American National Committee. The Armenian National Committee of Albany, and with him is the Armenian Youth Federation members. So we're very grateful. We're going to take a vote and then we'll take a picture. How about that? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
7 ayes, 0 nos. Resolution 47 passes.
Would you all join me? So we are very, I don't want to say fortunate, what is the proper word? Blessed is a good word, to have in the city of Troy, the Armenian Genocide Monument. And we mark this tragedy annually. And so this year, the council wanted to be part of that. And I'm not going to read the entire resolution, but we would like to present it to you, that we as a council hereby pause in our deliberations to acknowledge the catastrophic Armenian genocide, recognizing Armenian Genocide Remembrance Day in the city of Troy, and asking Trojans to reflect on the tragedy and loss of life suffered by the Armenian people and the valued contributions they have made to the Collar City. Would you like to share some words? Okay, thank you.
First off, on behalf of the Armenian community of Troy and the Capital District, this is a big honor for us. This is a very important part of our history. What's very important is to educate people because history forgotten is history repeated. As we know, Armenians know very well, we did commemorate the genocide at the monument on the 25th. There I did speak about the fact that because this genocide was forgotten and the perpetrators got away with it, the same people were witness to another genocide of deportation in 2023 from their lands of Artsakh by the Azeri government. So the Armenian National Committee, the Armenian Youth Federation, members of the Holy Cross Church who's located in Troy, New York, work vigorously to try to bring awareness so that this horrific part of history is not repeated to other people. So we are very grateful for this, and we are very appreciative of your support. Thank you.
Maria, do you want to get a photo of us, please? Well, they've already had their photos. Okay, thank you very much. All right. Thank you. Great, thank you. Did you get it, John? Did you get? Okay. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Where are the kids? Thank you for coming. Yes, thank you. Good job.
Stand right home. There was a lot of traffic, not a great ride home.
And that's lost.
Photo got
Soto got his first City Field home run though. It's great.
Oh, good.
Yes. All right, that's good.
Moving along, Resolution 48.
Resolution 48, resolution determining that the proposed construction of a swimming pool at Knickerbocker Park will not have a significant effect on the environment. Councilmember Casey, Council President Seal, at the request of the administration.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
Councilmember Keel, second.
Second.
Councilmember Brosnan. It's a tie. Any discussion on the resolution? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
7 ayes, 0 noes. Resolution 48 passes.
Resolution 49.
Resolution 49. Bond resolution of the City of Troy, New York, authorizing the issuance of not to exceed 6.3 million serial bonds to finance the construction of a swimming pool in Knickerbocker Park. Councilmember Casey, Council President Seal, the request of the administration.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
Councilmember McLaren, second.
Second.
Councilmember Brosnan. Discussion?
Council President Steele.
Councilmember Casey.
Just glad to see this. It's just another step to bringing back this pool back to life. I was down there a lot. I was actually down there as a kid, and then I had 2 children and a nephew that worked there, and I saw how many people in the community use the pool. It's just great we're getting this back up and running. It's just another step. Thank you.
Thank you. Excuse me. Any other discussion, comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
7 ayes, 0 noes. Resolution 49 passes.
Resolution 50.
Resolution 50, resolution proclaiming the month of May 2025 as Plant More May in the City of Troy, New York. Councilmember Soriento at the request of the administration. I'm sorry, just Councilmember Soriento.
I think there are other sponsors for that. She was being added. She's being added as a sponsor.
Yeah, I was being
Yeah.
added.
Okay.
Steele,
Sorry.
Casey.
No problem.
Miranda.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
Councilmember McLaren with a second by Councilmember Brosnan. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
7 ayes, 0 noes. Resolution 50 passes.
At this point of our meeting, we have the public forum on any item, not necessarily an agenda item. So I would invite anyone who wishes to speak to come forward. Give your name and place of residence, please. Yes, public forum.
Got it. No, I ran out of copies, so.
Sure.
I think Ryan knows what's going on, so.
Yeah, I already shared it.
All right, so. Frank from North Central. Frank Maben from North Central, been a little while, couple of months since I've been here. I'm pretty sure you all miss me. I'm back. I probably look a little different. I turned 60 and I decided to just stay that way. So it won't be any more color or anything like that. I just embraced it. Yeah, but we're excited. We're excited in the North Central area. You know, for 11 years, I've been speaking up and standing here for North Central. And I'm really excited about what's coming in the future. I'm really excited now that NIP grant, to hear that was extended and things are happening with that, because we got some amazing things happening. One part of that was, and Ryan was a part of that, is we were able to actually adopt a block with that. A block that was looked at as one of the, I don't know, high profile areas, that being Ingalls. And we were able to bring like 5 apartment buildings that are 2 stories apiece, which is 10 residents. We were able to like renovate those and then replace those with teachers, preachers, like seriously, they're there on Ingalls. And if you go by there, and if you've ever been there before, if you go by there, you're going to notice the difference immediately when you ride by there. And we've also, we're blessed to bring in Mr. McAvoy, who runs Collar City Painting, and he's going to just allow us the paints and, you know, some of his staff to put a new face on this entire thing, along with this NIP grant. And again, I think the biggest part is that we're able to bring that community together. We got 10 residents now that are going to come together there and make this all happen. So we're excited about that. Of course, then we have 10th Street Park, which we are, you know, we're just fond of. We just hope that we can just finally get some new like equipment in there. We've been saying for the whole 11 years that those steel has been there. Our city councilman has lived like right there, like 30 seconds away. He's seen it, he knows, and I'm sure he wants to make a difference there. He has, with a part of the IBW and all those other things. We've done several things to try to make a difference, but we have not yet and got those things replaced. If we could, that'd be nice, because Tripp's done an amazing job with putting a lot of new residents there. And I can tell you, there's about 50 new kids in that area, 50, just in that area right there. If you come across north of Hoosick Street and just getting to Ingalls, I'm talking 50 new kids that can't wait to go in that park. They're there already. And we're trying to stop them because we're promising them, hey, good things are coming, right? We trust Troy and we believe in that. And so that's why we're excited again about that. What I just handed you was a copy of what we got coming immediately forward next Saturday. And it's a chance for us to prove that like we're really going to come together. We really need to spring into activities and to show these kids that we're there for them, and we'll have structure there for them, and we'll be there, and we'll show up from everywhere. And I'm sure you all want to be a part of that. So I'm just going to go with this and ask that you all would be a part of that, and then kind of move forward from there. So if you would just look at what I have here. So we have a lot of sponsors. This is North Central Community and Solidarity Group presents the Spring and Two Activities basketball tournament at Geneva Pompey Park on 7th Avenue in Troy. Come out and enjoy face painting by Emma. That was always a big hit. There's going to be food by Family Benevolent Services, which is one of the only Black-owned services businesses still running in the city of Troy, has been running for several years through all kind of type of things. They're still going. They'll be there. We got DJs. Again, this is Saturday, May 10th, and it'll be a rain date on May 11th. It'll be 2 p.m. until dusk. And then bring your best pair of sneakers, your best guys. This is supported by Snug. More food, more fun, more activities. Our city councilman, Ryan Brosnan, will be there to do the honorary opening tip to start off the basketball tournament. And then again, this is sponsored by Mr. Lee's Fourth and Fulton Market. New people we have, style businesses right down there. Styles and Emerge, American Deli Mart, Troy Look, Troy City Deli Mart, Team Hero, J&P Lounge, Wisdom Works, M. Edwards Association, and New Hope Missionary Baptist Church. So you can see we put our work in to put this together to give us, give it a start. We need you to just show up at this thing, all right? Even if it's just for 5 minutes. I'm looking at Irene. I know a few that I'm pretty sure I can count on that will be there. We hope that you all will be there. And with this Adopt a Block thing, we certainly like to push this program down on Jefferson. Down there in Jefferson, they're starting to talk about it. We know the landlords and other people down there, and we'd be more than happy to advance whatever it takes to take care of things down in that area down there, because it's getting kind of crazy, and we want to be a part of whatever it is, Troy, like one Troy, and we cannot have any success unless we see all of you together. So if you can't be there, please have a representative there. Again, I won't hold you like any longer. Again, North Central Community Solidarity Group, we're really excited about what we got looking, going forward, but we really need you to be there. Okay, just be there, show it together, even if for 5 minutes. We'll give you a chance, come out, talk about it, be about it, okay? Because that's the only way. It's really the only way it's going to happen. So thank you.
Thank you, Frank.
Thank you, Frank.
It's both days.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh, yeah.
you have a time limit, not that very long.
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, my name is Simona Fish. I am the Community Engagement Coordinator for Capital District Tobacco-Free Communities. I live in the city of Albany. We work to reduce tobacco use, keep kids from starting, protect people from exposure to secondhand smoke in Albany, Schenectady, and Rensselaer counties. We do this in part by informing local municipalities about the impact of tobacco and vape use on public grounds, including on the health to residents, pets, and the environment. Understanding this impact, several municipalities in the capital region have adopted comprehensive smoke and vape-free policies that include cannabis and e-cigarettes. At their request, we have provided assistance, including sharing model language and free signage. There have been a couple of significant developments that have motivated a lot of communities to update or expand their existing policies or adopt a new one. Electronic cigarette use has proliferated, most notably among high school-aged youth. Even though youth e-cigarette use has decreased since its peak in 2018, high school students still vape at more than 5 times the rate of adults. And in March of 2021, New York State legalized the recreational use of marijuana. So now even in outdoor public spaces that have prohibited the smoking of cigarettes, we are seeing too many people vaping or smoking cannabis. For a long time, the only way to limit tobacco use on municipal property was through a local law. Then in 2013, a state law went into effect that prohibited smoking of tobacco on public playgrounds, but only between dawn and dusk and only when children under 12 were present. That was expanded to include vaping in 2017. Then the Marijuana Regulation and Taxation Act passed in 2021, and the state extended the public health law to prohibit smoking and vaping of cannabis in all places in which smoking and vaping of tobacco was already prohibited. But that still didn't include municipal property or park areas other than playgrounds. Last fall, a state law took effect that prohibits smoking of tobacco and cannabis, but not the vaping of tobacco and cannabis in all public parks, including local municipal parks and beaches. The end result is this rather confusing patchwork of state laws that local municipalities are required to communicate through the posting of signage and that people are expected to understand and comply with. So local governments have been filling in the gaps and using their local authority to set up their own policies, which can be comprehensive, consistent, easier for people to understand, easier to enforce, and that provide the best public health benefit. Most communities are aware of the dangers of exposure to secondhand smoke. Most people are aware of the toxic nature of cigarette butt litter. People are less aware of the dangers associated with secondhand cannabis smoke, e-cigarette emissions, and e-cigarette litter. Like tobacco smoke, secondhand marijuana smoke contains hundreds of harmful chemicals, many of which cause cancer in humans. Cannabis smoke also contains particulate matter that's even smaller than in secondhand tobacco smoke, making it even more likely to lodge in the lungs of those exposed. And e-cigarettes don't produce harmless water vapor. It's not a vapor at all. It's an aerosol, which means it contains particulate matter of hundreds of chemicals, many of which are human carcinogens, which are absorbed into the lungs of those exposed. So it is not harmless. And e-cigarettes, whether used for nicotine or cannabis, may pose an even greater danger to the environment than cigarette butts. The devices themselves contain lithium batteries, which are highly flammable and pose a serious fire risk. The most widely used disposable devices and the disposable pods used in reusable devices contain remnants of highly concentrated liquid nicotine, or THC, both of which pose a significant danger to anyone who comes into contact with them, and they become a significant litter problem in public spaces. Almost done. Sorry. Smoke and vape-free policies that restrict the use of all products which can be smoked and all products that can be vaped are the most beneficial to public health. They're good for the environment. They make shared public spaces more family-friendly by reducing toxic litter and reducing young people's exposure to adult tobacco use and adult cannabis use. And these policies are popular. Our most recent community survey from 2020 indicates that 3 out of 4 Rensselaer County residents want municipal property to be smoke and vape-free, and 2 out of 3 want parks to be smoke and vape-free. Capital District Tobacco-Free Communities is available to answer any questions you may have and provide technical assistance and signage. All of our services are funded by the State of New York Tobacco Control Program and are free to local governments. So thank you very much for the opportunity to talk about how to create healthier spaces in which residents live, work, and play. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Jude. I'm a resident of Troy. I'm an organizer with the Troy Democratic Socialists of America and the Good Cause Campaign, and I'm a renter. I'm sure some of you are getting sick of me. I'm here to speak again in support of good cause eviction protection. And I want to talk about the fact that this year is an election year. And that's relevant because the city council majority and their fellow party members have made good cause an election issue. That is, they are running against good cause. Why are you frightened by your constituents coming and speaking in favor of basic protections like lease renewals, rent caps, rights that everyone should have? 65% of households in Troy are renters, higher in some of your districts. You are prioritizing a handful of landlords, a handful of donors over your constituents who are tenants. You're raising money off the idea that Troy families shouldn't have stable, affordable housing. You're not representing us. I don't know why you've decided to do that, but you need to do better. You need to represent your constituents. You need to pass good cause. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, folks. I'm Elizabeth. I'm a resident of Troy. I'm here representing the Democratic Socialists of America and the Good Cause campaign. I'd just like to speak to the fact and remind folks that we collected signatures from 21% of the voters of the last gubernatorial election, and the city council was refusing to accept them, contravening the state law, which mandates the clerk accepts them, regardless of whether they think that it is ultimately legally viable or not. Again, we collected signatures from 21% of the electorate of the gubernatorial election last year, or 2 years ago, and you're still refusing to deal with the issue. And I mean, I think we know why. I think that we know that you're making thousands and thousands of dollars in campaign contributions and landlords. But I'm wondering, how do you justify that? Like, we did collect 21% of the entire electoral, 20% of voters from the last election. How can you justify that? Like, publicly, I mean, you can justify it behind closed doors, but seriously, yeah.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Drea Layanza. I live on Fifth Avenue, just a block away from here. And I'm here to talk in support of good cause evictions. I've been a landlord of various properties for about 25 years. In that time, I've had great tenants, good tenants, and a couple of tenants from hell. I have learned how to vet prospective tenants and how to include important items in the lease to avoid renting to problem tenants. Currently, I rent the second floor apartment of my house. My tenant is great. She's been here for over 8 years. I've told her that if anything is wrong with the apartment, that I want to hear about it right away so I can fix it before it becomes a bigger problem. At first, she was hesitant to tell me about problems, being afraid that I would retaliate against her as a problem tenant and evict her. But now she will tell me of even small issues, and it helps me maintain my property in good condition. I've always thought that the best approach to renting is to offer a place that I would like to live in and treat the tenants the same way that I would like to be treated, with dignity and respect. Troy has a housing crisis. There's high demand and low supply of affordable housing units. Renters have little choice of good, affordable housing. Unfair evictions cause a major disruption in a tenant's life, jeopardizing work, school, parenting, and opportunities. If your favorite restaurant raises its prices, you can choose to go to another more affordable restaurant. People can't just jump from one apartment to another in the same way. Moving is expensive and also can be harmful to work and school. Yes, if the tenant is destructive, they should be evicted, but there should be good cause before a person is deprived of a stable house. Please pass the good cause eviction law. Okay.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Jasper. I'm an organizer with the Party for Socialism and Liberation, a worker with Good Cause Troy, and a resident of Troy. Troy is 65% tenants like me, and they deserve protections for their ability to live in their houses. Now, The good cause will protect tenants from things that we all agree are bad, such as displacement, mistreatment, discrimination, and price gouging. I have been I am having a lot of trouble with my landlords lately, just with maintenance issues. My mailroom has been broken into. I've had packages tampered with, and they just aren't fixing the problem. I know that in 2023, a law was passed allowing me to sue my landlord for maintenance issues, and I also have like a hole in my wall that they won't take care of. And I'm afraid to act on this because I know that I could lose my place to live when I go to renew my lease. So despite not having a safe house for myself and my cat, I am and having packages lost or stolen, I still have to live in this place and I can't speak up against my landlord. With good cause, that would be prevented, and I wouldn't be able to be evicted for just using my voice to tell them, hey, this isn't right. So please please enact good cause. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Ariel. I am the housing counselor with United Tenants of Albany, and I also happen to be a Troy resident. As you can probably guess, I'm here to speak on good cause. I think I have a little bit of a unique experience because I get to deal with this every day. And not only do I work with tenants, but I work with the landlords. And I pride myself on my ability to mediate these conversations between tenants and landlords and try to find a happy medium for everyone. One of the things I enjoy about living in Troy, and I've lived here for many years now, is the sense of community, and that hasn't changed regardless. I love the camaraderie between neighbors, excuse me, and I think I'd like to see more of that relationship continue between landlords and tenants. I think that communication should happen as well. Housing isn't a commodity, and I worry that part of the reason why being a landlord is appealing to a lot of people is because there are no rules and you're kind of free to do what you want at this point. I think housing is a human right. I know some people disagree with me about that, but if ultimately the main point that I'd like to make is that I deal with a lot of good landlords, and if you are a good landlord, then good cause won't have an influence on you. If you're as good of a landlord as you say you are, then you don't have to worry about it. I worry that if you're fighting against good cause, that maybe you're doing something that isn't so right. Treating people, no one should have to worry about being kicked out of their home, for no reason. I think we can all agree with that. I think none of you would like that if you were kicked out of your home within 24 hours. A lot of the tenants that I interact with are people who have had situations that have happened beyond their control. They've had a spouse pass, they got injured at work. These are normal situations, these are normal people. And I believe that as long as apartments keep being built, these luxury condos, you're going to see the tenant movement grow, and our voice is only going to continue to get louder. So thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Anya. I rent in the city of Troy, and I'm here today to ask you for much needed tenant protections. I wrote a statement, so I'm going to read it on my phone here. I've only been a resident of Troy for a few months, and actually I've moved 3 times in the past 2 years. And the biggest reason for that is I just keep being priced out of housing, and I'm really tired. And just like me, many Troy and New York State residents have been heavily impacted by the housing affordability and the cost of living crisis. We've been priced out of our residencies and forced to move across the state and country trying to find a place to call home. Many don't even have the luxury of relocating elsewhere, and tonight they will be sleeping on the couches of their families and friends, in their cars, in the shelters, motels, and some will be on the streets. And it is in your hands to make sure that the residents of Troy can stay in their homes, to provide stability for families and children, and to make sure that not one more person has to sleep in motels or on the streets. I've been in shelters and motels where evicted families are forced to stay. The conditions there are unsafe and they're not suitable for a healthy life. There are roach infestations, and some don't even have steady daily access to running water. So ask yourself, how would you feel if you couldn't cook a meal for your hungry child? You couldn't wash dishes, couldn't take a shower after a long day at work. Probably not very well. There are families who have been waiting for permanent housing who I've met for over 10 years, and those include public health and government employees. Happy International Labor Day, by the way. And luckily for us, we don't have to accept this as our reality because there are already solutions out there that have been proven effective and popular. Last year, the New York State passed good cause eviction into law, giving municipalities an opportunity to opt in. Many have already done so. And it is as clear as day to me that the city of Troy must join, as over half of Troy residents rent, many of whom pay 30% or more of their monthly income in rent. And as you know, every year rents are only growing faster than wages. And while we develop initiatives to build more affordable housing for folks who are currently without a home, the least we can do is make sure to keep those who are already just barely able to afford to make ends meet, housed and protected. And opting into good cause would be a great first step in the right direction. Thank you.
Thank you.
Howdy, good evening. Good to see you again. Jordan Lean for Park Neighborhood. On that point, I'm not going to take up too much of your time. There's a big white tent in the park. I think the most boring circus in the world is coming to town. I want to check that out. So I think that there's a bit of anxiety on the city council, whether it's anxiety at the socialists at the farmers market, getting hundreds and thousands of signatures for a socialist plot. Or maybe it's anxiety about the duckbill mask mafia, all showing up to city council meetings, wearing the same masks, holding the same signs. What's going on? What's going on is we're building a movement for renters protection. Movement's got the majority so spooked. They're hitting up absentee landlords for checks. And I'm here to say we're not afraid of your checks. Because we know something about municipal politics. The race does not always go to the party with the most money. Sometimes it goes to those with the best ground game. We have one of the best ground games in town. We've talked to voters all over Troy. We've knocked doors all over Troy. We've knocked almost every door in District 2. I'll be knocking doors again, and we're going to let them know who on city council wants their rent to go up, wants to put on the street, wants homelessness to go up, and who wants to stop that. We're going to let them know that when their landlord hits them up for a big rent hike, that money is going directly into your election coffers. We have been having a fun time coming to Troy City Council. We might be moving into a new phase, a new educational phase where we let the people of Troy know who's on their side and who's not. So see you around.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Maggie Petrusky. I live in Troy, New York on Hutton Street. I've been here since last June. I'm a renter in Troy and I'm also a nursing assistant. And I've been working at Troy Center on Marvin Avenue since I moved here pretty much. I love my work a lot and I get to make a real change for people on like a individual level, like every single day working with the elderly and vulnerable members of the community. I moved here from Kingston because the price of rent was completely unaffordable. I was couch hopping, living on different family members' couches, friends, whoever would let me stay. I'd hate to lose my housing due to a raise in rent prices. I haven't lived here long, but I've fallen in love with the community and I've found, the community that I've found here, and I would hate to have to lose everything due to, the greed of other people, basically. Hope you'll vote in favor of good cause. Thank you.
Thank you.
Evening, Jessica Ashley. It's good to see you all again. I spoke last time I was here regarding good cause protections, and the problem that I see is that victimization is on the increase. Um, there's no, respect of person. It's whoever has a dollar gets the apartment. And whoever can pay the increases gets to stay. Unfortunately, the victims, are those individuals who haven't done anything wrong, except not be able to increase their income. And as a result, they're ending up homeless. They're ending up, I've seen some of these places that people have to go to, these hotels that social services will pay for. And they'll pay top dollar for it. And they are rat and roach infested and ceilings collapsing and all that. And we pay top dollar. In the end, we do pay for the places that people have to go to because they're displaced. We've got to think better and find better solutions than just ignoring the core problem. The rents have got to be affordable. Landlords in this city should understand that when you come to Troy, this is not a gold mine. We respect that you want to make a dollar from your building, but you shouldn't be able to do it at the cost of a person's life, actually. So with that said, I would really hope that we would try better, think harder. The public is coming and requesting help, but it's on you to be more helpful, because that's why you're voted in, because people expect you to help. And this problem isn't going to go away unless government steps in and does something real soon. So please hear the voices of the voters.
Thank you.
Hi there. Good evening. My name is Lori. I live in Troy, and thank you for allowing me to speak. I mean that both truly and sarcastically, because it's something, it's freedom of speech, which is still allowed in the United States. But it's all you're giving us. That's all, 2 minutes per citizen, once a month, and apathy. You don't react, you don't show any empathy. You don't say why you are totally uninterested in improving the vast amount of terrible yet expensive rentals in Troy. It is a law in the state that all you need to do is put it on the ballot to pass it. We need your consent to fight for basic housing habitability rights. But you're not showing an ounce of interest. We beg for a chance to show cause and to end fear of landlord retaliation and evictions. When slums remain slums and 24% of our population gets to live in a slum, the poor population. You allow landlord retaliation towards tenants, and from what I've witnessed, constructive eviction. You're looking away. Please consider giving us more than the bare minimum. We need more than 2 minutes of nothing. Please care to pass these protections for tenants so we can work together with landlords for common good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Evening. My name is Lunita. I've been a long-term resident of Troy
and I'm a renter. I don't mind paying, for rent. However, it's increasing, and I said this the last time I was here, $100 every year, which is very hard to keep up with because I'm retired now. And I fear homelessness. And I don't know if you realize how the population of homeless people has increased dramatically in Troy. I volunteer at the homeless shelter here in Troy, and the population is younger and a lot of older women now. And I think that that can be avoided if we come together as a community and consider passing a good cause for protection for residents who are renters. And I hope you consider it and have a nice evening.
Thank you.
Good evening, council members. It's a pleasure to see you again. My name is Frankie and I'm a long-term renter here in Troy. As you may recall, I previously spoke to you about the stunning 40% rent increase I experienced. And I also addressed the myth being circulated that incorrectly suggests good cause tenant protections infringe on private property rights. I imagine you're thinking that you might have to sit through another 3-minute speech from me on the finer points of good cause, but I'll be merciful and keep it brief tonight. But first, I do want you to understand that the 6 minutes total that you've had to listen to me over the last 2 council meetings are a tiny, tiny fraction of the time I've had to spend documenting unresolved problems at my apartment complex and fighting my landlord to uphold their most basic contractual obligations. I want you to fully grasp that I have more photos in my phone of piled up rotting garbage, dog waste, mold, and holes in the ceiling than I do of my family. So, my message to you tonight is that safe, decent housing shouldn't be a full-time pursuit for the renters of Troy. Tenants shouldn't have to work this hard to secure or maintain acceptable shelter. And we shouldn't be alone in our battle against Troy's slumlords and profiteers. It's your responsibility as our elected representatives to join us in this fight for fair and reasonable tenant protections. And you all know how effortless it is. New York State has already teed up good cause legislation for you. The hard work is done. All you have to do is opt in, just like many other cities and towns have already done. Then it's mission accomplished. No hassle, no cost, no negative consequences for anyone except the slumlords. So I'm asking each of you to fulfill your obligation to us to protect the rights of Troy's tenants by adopting good cause. Renters are not second-class citizens. We're not second-class citizens, and we insist that you acknowledge our legitimate concerns and take the simple action required to address the very serious and easily preventable problems we've meticulously described to you. And if you ultimately decide to go against public opinion and oppose good cause, I can assure you that your no vote will be publicized relentlessly from here to November. So in your deliberations on this, please don't forget that 2/3 of Troy's residents rent. And there are plenty of homeowners in the remaining third who will be very sympathetic to our cause. If you don't care about us, I'm hoping you'll at least care about the political math. So again, please do the right thing for the people of Troy and adopt good cause tenant protections. We're counting on you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Dan Graham. I live in Lansingburg. I want to echo what everyone else has said. We've talked to thousands of Troy residents. We've collected, 1,800 signatures, And coming to these city council meetings over the last few months has been really enlightening for not just us, but also the dozens of tenants that we brought through. I feel like what the feedback I've heard from them the most is that they're surprised at how little empathy there is after they pour their hearts out to you about their stories. They're surprised by the chattering that goes on in the hallway back there about, just ignorant statements. People hear renter protections and they think squatters' rights. They hear renter protections and they think that it's going to be impossible to evict a tenant. And good cause, I don't know how, for the 100th time, good cause, it doesn't make it any harder to evict a tenant who doesn't pay their rent or who trashes the property. It only protects tenants who pay their rent on time and are afraid of retaliation from their landlord. It's just the basic like protections, and it still allows landlords to raise rent 5 to 10% a year, which is a lot. And it's acceptable. It should be acceptable. Please, it's just everyone's got this idea in their head of a tenant who is behind on their rent, maybe a couple $1,000s. Maybe Councilmember Casey has some examples in his head from when he evicted people as a marshal. It's a
Council
tenant,
President,
a tenant who's behind on rent a couple $1,000s. You pull into their driveway and there's like a brand new, I don't know, Ski-Doo or something. And maybe they deserve to be evicted or something. But multiply those numbers by 100 and look in the mirror, because you guys can't pay your rent. Didn't you not? Weren't you behind hundreds of thousands of dollars? Didn't you spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on some useless tent? There are hundreds of families in Troy in the past year who could have stayed in their homes, who were evicted for reasons other than non-payment of rent, which you can't even do. So it's I'm not expecting to change your mind here. I know you're already raising money from landlords. Good luck with that, like it was said before. But it's really I'm surprised at how hard it is to get across to you how basic these protections are and how they really won't change anything for good landlords like the one we heard before and the dozens that we've talked to during our campaign. So I hope that you have a change of mind, change of heart in the next couple of weeks or whenever this vote comes up. Thank you for your time. Have a good night.
Thank you. Seeing no one else who wishes to speak, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned. Thank you, everyone.